Welcome back to Attitude Effort Results presented by Teamwork Online and the Clubhouse. Today, we have an awesome guest with us. We're going to go deep today. You guys are going to learn today some techniques that you maybe have not heard of before. You're going to hear some techniques that are going to apply to your life. I've known Alex for a little over a year now, but I'm going to let him introduce himself today, and then we are going to get deep. I do request that, one, if you're going to listen today, have a notepad with you. This is one where you sit at the kitchen table and write notes. It's also one that you're going to listen to multiple times. So even if you listen to the first one, driving to work or a treadmill or anything like that, that's cool. You're going to want to listen to this a couple times. So without further ado, I'll kick it over to Alex. Let's have some fun today. Introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, Anna. I appreciate you for having me on today. Yeah, so Alex Sortino, Somatic breath coach. So basically what I do is I help corporate employees, I help high performers uncover their subconscious beliefs to lead them to peak performance. And so, as you know, in sports, we like to be high performers. We like to perform. We like the work hard, play hard mindset. But sometimes that's actually can be hurting us in business deals and setting up contracts for our clients. And we'll get into more of that deeper into the conversation and why that happens to us. Background for me, I work for the Padres, sold season tickets for them. I sold tickets for the San Diego Chargers when they were the San Diego Chargers. I work for the Cincinnati Reds here in spring training. So I wanted to work in sports my entire life. It's very cutthroat. High calls, high volume calls, high talk time, which is required in this industry to make those sales, to make that connection, with our potential clients and customers. But also working 15 years in corporate America, inside sales, outside sales, BDRs, account managers. So that's a little bit of my background. And I found myself tired at the end of days. Yes, I was making six figures, but I was working 10, 12-hour days and making 80 to 100 calls. Talk time had to be at 2 hours. So I was drained, and I kind of just questioned, can this be sustainable? Is this something that I'm happy with? And, the money was good, but at the end of the day, I was stressed, I was anxious, and I was tired and just overwhelmed, and that affected my health. And so I started to look into more holistic modalities. And, I came into breathwork, been certified for 2 years now. And just giving a definition of breathwork and what that is, it's not just breathing. Most people just think it's just in through your nose, not through your mouth. It's a lot more intense than that. And it's the soma, which is the body. It makes up your body. And that's when we say somatic breathwork, the soma. And what we're hitting the nervous system. We're hitting your parasympathetic nervous system, which is like rest and digest, which is kind of like where we're at right now. But mostly people in sales are in the sympathetic nervous system, and that's fight, flight, or freeze. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And so that's what we want to help out with the breath work is getting them out of that 24/7 stress, anxiety, and get them more to a rest and digest so that they can to get more sales.
I told you guys this was going to be good today. This is awesome. I started learning about this a couple years ago, and honestly, what we're going to talk about today, some of you probably haven't heard. I would actually go to say like most of you have not heard what we're about to talk about today. I challenge everybody here to listen to this intently and listen multiple times. And the reason being is this thought, this mindset, what Alex is talking about today has changed who I am as a person. I am learning the breathwork side, and Alex and I talked right before this, like he's going to have to come over to my house and actually go through the entire thing with me. But the parasympathetic, the subconscious mind, that is very real. Very real. And you are going to be able to, after today, to program your mind differently than where it is now. Everybody believes, Alex, what you just said, everybody believes like that's just how it is. It's a high stress. It's fight or flight. Like, they just live in this state. And it doesn't have to be just sales either, right? People live in this fight or flight state often in their lives. But how can we enhance the power that we have in us and use that for good? So, Alex, walk us through a little bit about the power of our subconscious mind.
Yeah, so we get very deep, without getting too detailed. Basically, your subconscious it's a part of the mind that influences your actions, your feelings, and your decisions. So these are actually driving every decision in your sales process. It could be subconscious beliefs as I'm not valuable, I don't have low self worth, I'm not lovable, or I have a fear of money, or a big one for people, which is what I have is a fear of abandonment. Um, a fear of abandonment, it doesn't mean that someone abandoned you in your life. It could be that you're actually making more money than your colleagues or even your friends. You're leaving a different subset. That's what abandonment can also mean as well. So you could have a fear of making more money, and then you're worrying about what your coworkers would think about you, or friends, or family. So it really gets a lot deeper into your subconscious, and those beliefs basically push everything that you're talking to on that phone. So a big one is fear of rejection. And so if you're on the call, just for example, if you're an entry level sales rep in sports and ticket sales, you have to make probably 100 calls, maybe more. But if you have a fear of rejection and you keep getting told no 50 times during the day, what's happening is it's reconfirming their subconscious belief that I have a fear of rejection. And so, yeah, you can make more sales. You can ask good open ended questions. In sales, they always talk about creating stories, creating that connection. You can do all that. But if you have a fear of a rejection in your subconscious, that's not going to help you out.
Alex, tell us a little bit. This is a very deep question.
Hmm.
What are emotions? Like, what
Hmm.
are people feeling subconsciously?
Yeah,
Let's just go deep. If we're gonna do it, we might as well just go, right?
might as well.
Tell us,
Yeah.
like, what are those emotions, and what are some of the common limiting beliefs that you hear consistently in your role?
Yeah. So we can define emotions as energy. We are energy, and people can actually feel your energy on the phone as well. And so if you are, for example, emotions like anger, even pride, sad, we'll go happy as well. That's all energy, and there's different levels of that. So, for example, Buddha is like a level 1,000. He's attained enlightenment, and the energy below that, like anger, is defined. The number is it's 150, so it's very low. You can see how
Wow.
low that is. So you see, we have 1,000 for Buddha, but 150 is anger. This is stress, jealousy, anxiety. If you're getting those emotions throughout the day, maybe you're jealous that some of the coworkers are closing more sales than you are, which is what I had as well. I would always get jealous of people making more money than me, making more sales. Like, why can't I make the same sales that they're making? It's because I didn't believe in myself. I had a fear of money. I had a fear of rejection. And ultimately, it comes down to, do you value yourself as a person? And those are subconscious beliefs that I had, and that I had to, quote unquote, I like to say unf myself, because these are programs that were instilled in me as a child. It could be maybe your parents said that you weren't good at something, or maybe a coach if you played sports. Unfortunately, I've been in situations like that, and those belief systems get installed into your brain, which is a computer, and it's a program now. And so that's running not just for sales, but it's running every aspect of your life.
Alex, you have a very calm tone to you. And I'm going to say something I've never said on here before, because we're going to be deep. We're going to be transparent. I like to call it hot. We're humble, open, and transparent here.
Love it.
When I grew up, I was the quote unquote dumb kid.
Hmm.
My sister is a genius, still is. A lot of my cousins around me were all 4.0 students, valedictorians, salutatorians. A lot of the people around me, I just didn't have the grades that other people did. And to this day, when people come up and say like, "Oh yeah, like you didn't have good grades in school, or you weren't really there to learn, or anything like that," I get very, very defensive.
Hmm.
Very defensive. And that is programmed so deep into who I am that you have to like kind of, un-F yourself a little bit, right? Where you did not program that. I didn't program that into myself as a kid. It was told to me time and time and time again. And we're in spaces now where people don't even know they're doing it. Like my parents didn't intend to have me grow up and think I'm a dumb kid, right? That wasn't the intention of all my friends around me, was to say like, "Oh, let's make Tanner dumb today." No, but because of the intelligence around me and me not being enough at that time, that is a very core thought still to this day. And
Hmm.
so again, we're going to be transparent here. I'm going to challenge all the listeners to dig a little bit deeper. That's something where my wife says something where like, "Oh yeah, you didn't you weren't really smart in school." Like and that's not on her, that's on me.
A
That's
trigger.
on me to
Yeah.
figure out. Tell us a little bit more about how you can start that process of getting out of that.
Yeah. So this would be the integrating the trigger, which is them saying you're dumb. That's your trigger for yourself, and your defense mechanism, which is okay because that's what your body is trying to protect you. And this is okay. This is what it developed. This is a defense mechanism to make you feel safe. We need to do this to make Tanner safe. And so what I do through the process of this breath work, it's between Wim Hof breath work and holotropic breath work. It takes about an hour. And what we do is we shut your brain down, the prefrontal cortex, the frontal lobe, which is where your ego lies. That's where the stories lie. And so once we can do that, I'm cueing you and I'm asking you questions the entire time to get to this version of yourself when you were a child. You can call it parts work, you can call it inner child healing. So there's a version of Tanner inside of your subconscious that doesn't feel enough. We have to allow that person to come up and speak, and then we also have to tell them it's going to be okay. And then we introduce the new belief into your nervous system. And this is all going on during this breathwork process. It's something that does take time. It's not something that's going to take a one and done because this is a new feeling for you. For example, if I'm 37, I'm having beliefs that I have to hit from the age of 5 to 7 to 10 to 16 to a 22-year-old version of myself. It takes a lot of time because I've been programmed for, let's say, 34 years. I'm 37 now. I started this work when I was 34, but that's 34 years of programming. And you can see you just can't get that done in one day. So it does take time to hold that into your nervous system, into your body. Because what happens is during the day, your brain is actually scanning to confirm your false beliefs. And it's going to enter in anything into your life that's going to confirm every belief that you have. And so it goes back to the body, and then you feel it in your body, and your body reconfirms it back to your mind. So it's like
Wow.
it's in milliseconds. So this is why the breath is so important to pause. So just like how you said, I'm very calm, cool, and collected today. I took 5 minutes to breathe because I was nervous. Because 22-year-old version Alex was speaking in a college class for a sports business degree, for a master's degree, and he was shaking and he was scared. And so I had to calm him down and let him know, hey, it's going to be okay. Like I'm visualizing this call with you. This is going to be a great call. We're going to feel amazing after this. And that's what you have to do. This is for pre sales calls. This is during the day. If you're in a rut, that you can do as well. You can implement these during the day and then even post work day. Like how did you feel on every call?
How does the breath work directly? You talk about like you can do this during the day. You
Yeah.
can do this consistently, and it is
Hmm.
going to take time. I believe things about myself now that would never have been possible 4 years ago when I started this self help journey, when I started this personal and professional journey that I'm on. And I believe that I'm more valuable now than I did 4 years ago. And it's going to take time.
Mhm.
However, to help people right now, you're talking about how this can directly affect you and you can do it during the day. Like, tell us some of those techniques where somebody's like, gosh, I know what you're saying. I understand it. I got you. How, like, give me some actionable steps here on how we can start to implement this in our days.
Yeah, so these are quick ones that can get you into just the parasympathetic state, which is our rest and digest, like our calm state before we go on a call, before the day, or as like I said, during the day. But the first step that I like to tell people is just awareness first. How do you feel after the call? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel anxious? Where is it in your chest? Because a lot of people will feel it in their chest. It'll be tingly. It'll be very hot. You can feel it in your legs, and that's bringing awareness. And then we can start to associate emotions. So the first step is awareness that I like to do. And then we feel the emotion in our body. So then we, throughout the day, the course of the day, we're feeling these emotions in our body. So the quickest one to get to our rest and digest state is two quick breaths through your nostrils. And it's just a simple, that's the quickest way. And you do that once that emotion is gone from your body. So that's why we want to have the awareness first. So we're aware of it, and then we can just, okay, we're aware of it. Okay, let's just do my two quick breaths. And we do that until the emotion's gone. So that way we're at homeostasis, we're at balance now. Now let's jump onto this call. So let's take 5 minutes before this and do some breath work for myself so that we're not anxious or stressed.
Wow. So it doesn't sound that complicated.
All right.
How consistently do you do this during the day? Like, either you yourself or for some of the
Mhm.
clients that you have, is this a 1 time a day thing? Is this a 10 time a day thing? Like, how often are you doing this, especially early on? Again, assuming not a lot of people listening currently have heard about this, and that's why we need you here today.
Right.
Assuming, especially from the jump, what's
Mhm.
the quantity or the consistency that you're working with?
Yeah, just for me, just because I'm a breath coach and I love this stuff. It's I go deeper and deeper every day to my subconscious. I do it 3 times a day. I will do about 30 minutes to an hour deep subconscious work. Um, and like I said, if I do, I still actually to this day, I'm 37. I feel the rejection even after a sales call today. I say, hey, okay, Alex, let's feel this right now. And the point of it is to do it every time early on is because you have to reconfirm it back to your body constantly. Like I said, it's not something that happens overnight. It's going to take you a couple months. It's going to take some commitment from you. It's going to feel uncomfortable because probably no one else in this office, whoever is listening to this and wants to implement in this life, it's going to feel weird. They're like, why is Tanner, why is he doing breath work right now? Like, it's going to feel awkward, but you kind of have to just own it and not worry about what other people think because it's also subconscious belief. People worry about what other people think of them as well and why they don't implement things. This is weird. This is a weird concept. It's not in corporate America. It's it may be in some kind of sports sales environment. Um, Another one I like to do, it's called square breathing. And this is something that you can do as well. It doesn't take as much time, but it's a simple breathing in through your nose for 4 counts. So we breathe in and we hold for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, and then no breath here for 4, for a count of 4. So it's square breathing, in 4, hold 4, exhale 4, and hold on empty for 4. And you can do that until the emotion is gone as well to calm yourself down before and after calls.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about the role of breathwork in reframing our limiting beliefs, because we have to go very deep. Some of us, years and years and years of beliefs that were put on us. Again, not our own beliefs, not our own thoughts, something that parents, friends, teachers, family members, I think family members, from what I've seen, the biggest, right? How do we use breath work in reframing those limiting beliefs and almost creating a new mental mental blueprint for, right? For us, for success, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so a big one, let's just say, for example, a big belief for people is I'm not enough. So anything opposite of that's going to be true. So what would be the opposite of that? I'm enough. But what do you want to feel? You probably want to feel freedom. You probably want to feel peace. And so we want to instill that freedom and peace into your nervous system, and then the feelings of that into your nervous system, because your nervous system doesn't understand what that means. It wants to feel I'm not enough because unfortunately our brain just wants to survive. It doesn't want to thrive. So anything uncertainty people are scared of, anything that's fearful, anything that's going to like kill your brain, it's not going to want to do. It's going to feel uncomfortable. So that's why people remain the same. That's why people remain in fight or flight 24/7, because it's comfortable. It keeps them here. It keeps them safe. But on the other side of uncertainty, it could be more money, more sales, more clients, a happier life. So, like I said before, to reframe it, we have to, once you're in this, it's called a transient state, we shut down again the prefrontal cortex. You're in this like state of darkness, and I'm speaking to you just like how we are now. I'm asking you questions like, Tanner, how do you want to feel right now? Okay, let's implement this new belief into your system. I do that for about 3 or 4 minutes per each question. And so it starts to implement into your nervous system. And that's how we reframe, and that's how we integrate it into your nervous system. And so those breath works usually take about 30 minutes to an hour to get you into the state, to cut out all the noise, to drop the ego, to drop the beliefs, and get you back into your body again. Soma, body. The breath work is the key. It's just a tool to get you to this point. These are just tools that we are giving you guys today that you can use to access. I used to be, hey, let's work hard, play hard. But that's also a belief. Like, why do I have to work hard? Why do I have to work 80 hours a week or 50 hours a week? It's a lot for us. We don't have to do that anymore. Um, yeah.
When you are working with clients and obviously want to protect all of your client records, right? I don't want any personal information, but what is the most consistent limiting belief that you see with some of your clients?
I'm not worthy. Yeah.
And where does
I
that
don't love
typically
myself.
come from? Like, what have you heard from people where that comes from, that I'm not worthy?
Yeah. So it does come from, we like to call it in the coaching or therapy field, transformative years, which is the ages of 3 to 7. That's where
Wow.
most of, yeah, it's deep. It goes far, but you can access it. It does seem impossible as we're talking about it right now, but you can get to that person that is driving those beliefs, or I'm not lovable, and those can come from. I'm very open and honest with my life. I've been bullied my entire life in elementary, middle school, and high school, and so that's caused me to not love myself, to not accept myself for who I am. So it could be these little micro moments that happen into your life that we need to hit, that we need to get through the breath to heal this version of you. And that's what we do. We heal this belief, and then we reframe it back to what you want to feel. For adult Alex at the age of 37, we don't want 4-year-old Alex, 8-year-old Alex, 15-year-old Alex to run this version of my life. And so those are the versions that are actually running your sales cycle and friendships and romantic. I know we're talking about sales today, but this is going to affect every area of your life.
Yeah, there's a lot of people listening that are not going to be in sales, and I actually have this saying where you are either in sales or you are in service. There's
Yeah.
only two industries in the entire world,
Yeah.
and so everybody here today, again, even when you go into a job interview, that's sales, right? Can you do this before you go into a job interview? Are you nervous about stepping into a job interview? Now you have a tool in your tool belt to help you through it. Okay, cool. So you look a little weird. So you're doing things differently than everybody else. Yes. Yes, you are. You are doing things differently than everybody else. And that's
Hmm.
why you're going to succeed is because everybody is playing in this transformative year, right? Everybody's in this childhood like mindset. When you
Hmm.
are graduating college, when you're in your professional life, when you're 40 or 50, everybody's still back in those days where you did not give yourself those beliefs. Alex, for you, we talked about the biggest limiting belief is I'm not worthy. What is the one thing that people want to believe the most? So when we get into that state and we are thinking about the state that we want to be in, what is that state that you've seen consistently with your clients?
Yeah. What I hear most is they want peace, they want happiness, they want freedom. And if we're talking sales, we want money. But if you don't value yourself, how can you make money? How can you make more money if you don't value yourself?
Mm.
So if you're looking at this in a sales sense, if you're constantly just making the same amount of money every year, you're you're working your butt off. You're making the calls, you're asking the right questions, but how can you get more money if you don't even value yourself, or you're not even worthy of that money? And so we instill the happiness in people, the peace, the freedom, but it has to come from the inside. Unfortunately, in this society, it's we externalize everything, and everything comes from the inside. It's the beliefs are inside, the emotions are inside, and so once we look inwards, then that's when the change really happens. And I've seen these huge transformations for these when I perform these breath works. It's still I'm 2 years in. It's amazing to see, like, it's beautiful. I'm in service, like you said. I love service, and it's really cool to see these transformations that these people have because we want to be happy, we want to be free, we want peace without having to work so hard and so much for it.
I had a previous episode where I talk about manipulate, and that term has a very bad connotation.
Yeah.
But with this, we can manipulate our breath, we can
Yep.
manipulate our thoughts and get into the subconscious mind because our subconscious mind runs what we do on a day to day basis, right?
Yep.
There are way more subconscious thoughts in a day than there are conscious thoughts.
Hmm.
And so manipulating our breath work and our thoughts can then lead to success. So again, that word has a bad connotation, but it really just means control and influence. Who doesn't want to control or influence their lives? This is a tool that we are now learning about and putting in our toolbox where we can control and influence what we do in our lives. Tell us a couple more. Obviously, we had the square breath.
Square
We had
breathing.
the pre work,
Yep.
right? Tell us a
Yep.
couple more where we can use in our day to day.
Yeah. Another one. It's called. You can name it whatever that you want. I call it 468. You can call it 579. The point of it is you want your breath holds and your exhales to be longer than your inhale. So, for example, we'll inhale for 5 right now. So inhale for 5, and then we'll hold for 6, and we'll exhale slowly for 8. And again, when the emotions are up, this is what we do for the emotions to calm back down, and then we can get back into our day. Or it could be your pre calling setup for yourself, middle of the day, and then towards the end of the day, you can process. And what the cool thing about this is not just for sales. Like I said, you can use this in every area of your life. If you get stressed from home, um, before you walk into the house, knowing it's going to be chaotic with your family, your wife, your husband, or your kids, or your partner. Okay, I had a hard day today. Let me just calm myself down with these breathwork techniques. And then I'm a big believer in the power of visualization. So before going into your day or before going into a big call, I just like to sit just like this, hands on my quads on top of my legs, and just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just visualize the entire call, how you want to feel, the emotions. Visualize them signing it to the very detail. What's this going to look like in your mind? It's a huge advantage that you can have over anybody else, not just in sports, not just in ticket sales.
I had, so I'm a very strong Christian. And again, today's podcast is not about faith, and I'll never
Mm-hmm.
push that on anybody. But my wife and I go to a Christian summit every year. Last year was in San Diego. The CEO of the San Diego Padres
Nice.
actually came and talked to us.
Go
And
Padres.
yeah, he mentioned this 3 minute rule that he has. So every time he pulls into work or into his driveway, he gives himself 3 minutes. Everybody in the world has 3 minutes to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was last July. And I've actually been doing this without the breath work. So now I get to add that in, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. It does reframe what you're walking into,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is a sales meeting, whether that is every single morning I go to work, right? I'm doing that every morning I go to work. And when I come home, coming home is the biggest piece for me because in this industry specifically, we work a lot and we work late nights. And so there's some nights I come home and Callie's in bed already. There's some nights where I come home, I have no idea how our day went, but I now get 3 minutes for me, I pray for 3 minutes
Mm-hmm.
of thank you for the beautiful day, a prayer of gratitude, and
Yeah.
also allow me the wisdom and discernment to
Mm-hmm.
make decisions that are beneficial for everybody in the sales meeting, for my wife when I get home, for my friends if I'm going over to their place, right? So for me, it's the wisdom and discernment decision making. And now we add. How about that? Add. I got my Wisconsin accent coming out there. Now we add in a little bit of visualization and breath work, and it
Yeah.
seems like that's something that is going to help. This visualization, tell me more about that. I believe in it. I do it. It seems like you have a deeper knowledge and thought on it, and I want to hear more.
Yeah. So I mean, we could just do a quick test right now. Let's just say, Tanner, I go tell you to go shoot 50 free throws physically right now. And then I myself, I'm going to go shoot 50 free throws in my mind, just visualizing myself, the whole entire motion, visualizing the ball going into the hoop. And then who do you think is going to have a higher percentage?
Yeah, you're probably going to make more than me
Yeah.
because you're
So
controlling it.
the person with, yeah, it's very deep. It's very detailed. The person that visualizes is going to have a higher percentage than the person that's actually physically doing it. Um, it's just so imperative to hit all the senses, the emotions, the feelings, because it's we're embodying it in ourselves. It's not external now. And there's plenty of athletes that do this. Mookie Betts, I think he does 1,000 swings in his mind every night. Um, I know LeBron James visualizes before games. You see him sitting on the bench before. JJ McCarthy of the Minnesota Vikings. We see what he was doing at the University of Michigan. I just spent 3 months with Arizona Compass high school football team. They're Division II here in Arizona, and I was leading these high school kids through breath work. And then at the end, we would visualize the play that they're going to make in the championship game for 5 minutes. What's the play? What's the feel? What are you doing? Are you blocking? Are you making interception? Are you throwing the game-winning touchdown? How do you feel? What's the trophy feel like? Like what are your parents saying to you? And Jalen Strong, he went to Arizona State, played football there, played for the Texans, the Colts, a couple other teams as well, and they won. They won the championship in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, and I strongly believe in it. It's very powerful. Visualization is a huge tool that you can use, like you said, before you go home. Um, you can visualize yourself just having a conversation with your wife, and then just you can use this for sales, just setting up your entire day, how you want to feel at the end of this day. And everything that you're going to do, your brain is going to orient you to that feeling. But if you're coming into the day, I don't want to be at work. I'm stressed for my wife or girlfriend, my boyfriend, my husband. I'm anxious. We're energy. Guess what's going to happen? Guess what you're going to attract the whole entire day? It's going to be stress, anxiety, anger. That's what you're going to attract. And that's what, going back before 24/7 fight, flight, or freeze, it makes us comfortable. Unfortunately, that's why we have to break these beliefs with breath work, so that you can be, if you want more money, more happiness, better relationships, again, not just sales, but you can attain all of this if you want it.
That is so powerful, first of all. Second, I'm assuming a practical something that I think exactly what you're saying. When I go and think about this, I think of the white Tesla model, right? If I go buy a white Tesla, all of a sudden I'm going to see white Teslas all around me,
Yeah.
right? If I happen to go meet a person at work that I've never met before, I'm going to see them around the office more often, simply because I went and met them, and my subconscious now knows that they're there. My subconscious, if I buy a white Tesla, they now see white Teslas all over the place. This is real. This is something that I have done over the last couple of years of like putting that thought in your mind, right? Putting that house in your mind. What house do you want? What vacation do you want to take? Like putting that in there, you attract that more often. I cannot fully explain it, except that I'm a strong Christian and I believe God's in there. But like you actually attract it. When Callie and I were talking about our rental property, that was a goal. We thought about that often. We talked about that often. All of a sudden, a builder in the area that I know is like, hey, we have this property in Tempe. And I was like, really? I've been thinking about getting a property in Tempe for a while. That's crazy. It happens. And I think it's so important. We talk a little bit about, today has mostly been the pre-work, right? The pre-call, the pre-meeting, the pre-walking into your house at the end of the day. Tell me a little bit about post-work as well, because that can be impactful. We get rejected on a sales call. We feel like we're not enough. And then we go to our parents' house and they tell us we're not enough. Okay, now I'm leaving that house. Like, now what, right? Tell me a little bit about the post-work that you can do also.
Yeah, the post work, I would recommend finding a coach or a therapist to walk you through initially, because it's going to be hard for you to reconfirm your subconscious beliefs for yourself, because you're probably just going to go back into the same feedback loop and just retell and reconfirm yourself. And so it would be through, and you can walk yourself after you have your own tools to do this, but it would be dropping into a breath work for about 20 to 30 minutes and shutting down your brain again. This is post. I do this every day, and just to keep reconfirming the feelings to yourself, whatever subconscious belief that you're working on, and just reconfirm to yourself these emotions for whatever belief it's going to be. So I do highly recommend, finding a coach or a therapist, and then you can do this every day post work day, and sitting yourself down, using the breath to drop into your body and to process that. What happened during that? What was that rejection call? What happened? What'd you feel? And then putting in the new version of yourself, implementing it now, the new belief. What do you want to feel? And then envisioning yourself, this version of yourself, which is, for example, 37-year-old Alex, what that looks like, what he's doing now. This is how we implement it in our daily lives. This is how we it's mindset. It's a tool. It's a tool that we haven't used. So it's repetition. Has to be repetition. It's just like when we go to the gym every day. It's reps. It's daily reps.
I like that you said it's a tool, because if we walk into let's say the builders of the people that actually run America are people that build it, in my opinion, the hardworking men and women that do that.
Yeah.
So let's use a scenario from them and give them some love. You talk about going in to build a building, right? You're going to walk in. The only thing in your tool belt is a hammer. You will only use a hammer to build that house or that building, right? The only thing in your tool belt is that an air gun? Then you're only going to use an air gun, and you might not be able to get into tight spaces. You might not be able to, cut the wood in half because you don't have a saw yet, right? what we're talking about today is in addition to some of the habits that people are creating, is in addition to understanding the career path you're going into, but this is a tool that you can now use consistently, right? You just added, everybody here today just added a tool. Now, an interesting piece is that we all just got a new tool in the tool belt. How do we use it? Do we throw it away? Because the hammer's been working forever. Right? I walk in, I've been building a house with a hammer forever. I actually think this is crazy that this thought just came into my mind. My grandpa still bends back nails if they get crooked. Because in the Great Depression, he had to. They did not have new nails to go purchase. And I look at him now and I'm like, Grandpa, a box of 100 nails is $3. You can afford a new box. Think of the time and the stress and the thought and the mindset that you're going to save by going to buy a new box. So we have to use, the reason I say that is you have to use these tools also. Having this in your tool belt does us no good if we don't use them. I'm going to immediately add it to my 3-minute routine. And I think going into sales calls during the day, visualization is going to be something that I'm adding in also. Because how do you feel? How do you want to feel? Doesn't come into our minds a lot. We just feel emotions and then we have reactions, right? But if we understand where we want to go, we will attract that more. So this is absolutely incredible that we just had an opportunity to add this to our tool belt today.
Yeah, it's going. I mean, who wouldn't want to work and be the best version of themselves at peak performance, have mental clarity, better decision-making skills, more productivity, but not also sacrificing your health, the stress, the anxiety, the emotions, and feeling good every day about yourself. And that's what breath work allows you to do. It allows you to access these beliefs in your body, to feel just a tool. The breath is a tool to get you to access these unconscious beliefs and to get you to that peak performance that everybody I'm sure wants in sales. I'm sure everybody wants that in the ticket offices around the country working in sports.
Alex, what did I miss today that you believe is impactful or important for me personally and for everybody here listening?
Yeah, I have a diagram here. I actually wanted to show you guys. We'll see how clear it is. If we have our subconscious here, this is 95% of your brain. We are only aware of this much.
Wow.
5%. So in here, we have the beliefs, I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not valuable. And on the outside, the external, this is the talk time. This is the kinds of questions that you're asking, the amount of calls. And if you can see what happens, it's only hitting the 5%.
Wow.
It's not getting to your subconscious beliefs. So you're asking yourself, well, I'm making 100 calls. I'm doing 2 hours of talk time, but it's not working because you have a fear of rejection. You don't value yourself. You don't love yourself. And so that's why it's not working for sales reps, for professionals.
Wow, that's crazy. 5%.
Yeah, 5%.
That's nuts. So by doing this, we're going to be able to access more of what that 95% subconscious is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's incredible. One last question for you. I like asking it to everybody that comes on. Obviously, the name of the podcast, Attitude, Effort, Results. What does attitude, effort, results mean to you? And I'm very interested because I think it means something different to you based on our conversation today than other people on here. So I'm very interested. I didn't tell you any of this beforehand, so I'm curious on what you got.
No, I like that because the diary of the CEO does this for I think he asked him a question for the next person that comes on. This is cool. So I like that you do this. It's not going to be what you think it's going to be. That used to be who I was, playing sports, working in sports, working corporate America, attitude, effort, results. I'm going to take a breath here. It's how can you change your attitude to putting in less effort to get the results that you want.
Wow. Come on.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That's great.
That's how the breath is important for that pause. You know, that's so powerful.
I love it. Well, Alex, I appreciate you. I learned today. I
Yeah.
know that our listeners learned today.